is the NNN Network.
Hello, America. I'm Rock T. Stone. Good evening and welcome to another edition of Fateline, exclusively on the NNN Network. Tonight we have an especially strange tale as only Florida can provide. We go to the town of San Bernardino Beach on Atlantic Island, Florida, where a series of unsolved murders has stirred up another string of unsolved murders from 23 years earlier. We turn now to our special correspondent, Keith MoronSon, for details. Keith?
Atlantic Island is a peaceful little spot off the coast of northeast Florida. Everyone seems to spend their days at the beach in an endless summer. Nestled in the middle of this little piece of paradise is the small town of San Bernardino Beach, an idyllic place where everyone knows their neighbors. There are no secrets in a small town, or so you would think. Our story actually begins 23 years earlier right here with a gruesome series of unsolved murders. Murders that had to have been committed by someone that everyone knew, or so they thought. It was an especially hot, moist day in August 1992 when the first person just disappeared. Friends and neighbors were frantic. The police were called in. Everyone was sure that they would never run off, never just disappear like this. They had too many friends, too much family that loved them. The police interviewed everyone and continued their search, only without a body. The case was just a missing persons case with a lower priority than, say, a murder. Until September, when another person just disappeared, vanished, as if into moist air. The town was in shock. Surely there had to be a rational explanation. Without a body or any signs of foul play, the police treated this disappearance as just another missing persons case and prioritized it accordingly. People were scared, but the police followed their protocol until it happened again in October. Neighbors no longer trusted each other. There was another disappearance in November. Residents were frightened and demanded answers. Another resident went missing on Christmas Eve. Everyone was a suspect. Even Chris Kringle was detained and cross-examined for a few hours that night. In January, a sixth person just vanished. Or had they? There were rumors in town about a powerful crime syndicate calling the shots, making people vanish. The police were powerless against them. In February, the seventh victim just disappeared. Citizens were desperate. The city was on the verge of anarchy. The mayor asked the governor to call in the National Guard to maintain order. New rumors emerged about a dark force taking vengeance on the crime syndicate. A merciless killer exacting vengeance, dispensing frontier justice. A cold and heartless killer, more like a shark than a man. The townspeople whispered about a shark man, here to save them from an even greater evil. The police started calling the case the Sharkman murders. An eighth victim disappeared in March, only this was no ordinary victim. Story had it that he was the second most powerful person in the octopus crime syndicate. Legend has it that only Octopussy had more power behind her. Clearly someone was going after the octopus crime syndicate, tearing it apart one piece at a time. But whom? Or perhaps I should say, what? Could it be the Shark Man? But that couldn't be possible. Or could it? And then the killings just stopped. No more disappearances. The police were baffled but relieved. At least no one else was vanishing into thin air, things slowly returned to normal, or as normal as they could be in a town that had been terrorized. Fast forward 23 years when there's been a murder. Only this time there's a body, a famous body. We are now joined by Detective Johnny Sharkman. Yes, you heard that correctly. The detective assigned to solving the latest murder is named Sharkman, just like the name of the famous case from 23 years ago. Was that just coincidence in a case full of them? It seems unlikely, and yet true. Or was it? Good evening, Detective Sharkman.
Good evening, Mr. MoronSon.
It's MoronSon, but you can call me Keith, Detective. What did you think when you were first assigned to this case?
Well, Mr. MoronSon, I knew from the beginning that I was the perfect man for the job. I had a hunch that the Captain Crunch murder was related to the murders from 23 years ago.
You had a hunch? That's not very much to go on now, is it?
No, Mr. McMoronson, it's not. I started to follow the clues back to what happened 23 years ago. I knew that if I kept digging, I would find something. I caught my first break when I saw that Mr. Willis was retiring. He'd been the state's attorney 23 years ago. I flew out to Phoenix. I got him to reveal some additional information.
Ooh, what was that?
Something that I can't reveal. It's classified.
Could you give us just a little bit of a hint? Or maybe you can't.
I can't. It's classified. Like I said.
Could you give us just a little bit of a hint? Or maybe you can't.
I told you I can't. It's classified.
But Detective, I thought that you were in charge of this case. The detective in charge would be important enough to tell us classified information now, wouldn't he? You are important enough to tell us classified information, aren't you, Detective?
Yes, I am. I got a clue that a key witness in the case, a Mr. The Eel, was also in Phoenix.
Mr. the Eel? Ooh, he sounds like a slippery character. And dangerous. Or was he?
He was. I had to get a little rough with him, make him some promises, that kind of thing.
Ooh, promises? What kind of promises?
I think I owe him a pet store guppy.
Ah, what happened next, Detective? Ah, can you tell us what happened next, Detective? Or maybe you can't.
Tony the Tiger got murdered.
Tony the Tiger? Not the Tony the Tiger?
Sadly, yes.
This must have been related to the Captain Crunch murders then, right?
It certainly looked that way. Now we had a serial killer on our hands.
Oh my, how unusual and exciting. What happened then, Detective?
Before we could dig too deeply into Tony the Tiger's death, it was another murder. A triple homicide, actually.
Oh my, how unusually exciting. Did you have any suspects?
I had a hunch.
A hunch? Oh my, that's not very much to go on now, is it, Detective?
You're kind of annoying.
Or not? What was your hunch, Detective?
I thought that it must be a fictional character killing other fictional characters.
Oh my, how strange and unusual. That sounds kind of stupid, actually.
Stupid, huh? Well, Mr. Moronson, big shot TV guy, it turns out I was right. It was a fictional character killing the fictional characters.
Ooh, how very stupid. Or was it? Who was the killer, Mr. Detective Sharkman?
Well, it turns out that I'm a schizophrenic, and I had an evil clown side. I initially imagined that he was my police detective partner Joey Kerr, and that he was the one who had an evil clown side and who also liked to sing spirituals. Turns out that when Joey and his evil clown side disappeared, that it was really my evil clown side doing the killing.
That's incredibly ridiculous. Unusual. What happened next, Detective?
Well, after the triple homicide of Snap, Crackle, and Pop, I knew this had gone too far.
Really? It took you that long to figure that out?
Yes, I did.
So, what did you do, Detective?
I did what had to be done. I stabbed and killed my evil clown side and ate him along with my fiancée.
You killed and ate a clown and your fiancé?
Mr. Moronson, you're not going to put words in my mouth like all those other idiots on TV. I've seen your show. Now listen carefully. I killed my evil clown side with a knife. Then my fiancée and I, we ate him.
Oh my. So, in your mind now that the imaginary clown side of you has been murdered, you think that the fictional character murders will stop as well?
Absolutely. Shuffles was the only one crazy enough to kill fictional characters.
Shuffles? Was that the name of your imaginary evil clown side?
Yes, Keith, it was. His giant clown shoes didn't fit that well, so he kind of shuffled when he walked. Now that Shuffles is gone, life should return back to normal.
As normal as it seems to get around here anyway. Now that you're alive and the town have returned to normal, what will you do now, Detective? I got a part-time job. 10 bar 4 times a week. The rest of the time, I drink. There's no one around to stop me. It's beautiful. All right, all right, all right. Do you think that these fictional character murders were related in any way to the Octopussy murders from 23 years ago? Or not? You know, Mr. Moronson, sorry about that. I have a hunch that they were, or my name isn't Johnny Sharkman.